Now at 10, a Parsons, Kansas tradition happened once again today at Wesley United Methodist Church. The shrimp boil brought good eats to the whole community. Plus, Metropolitan Weddings hosted a bridal show at Downstream Casino. And the Miners Hall Museum hosted a special program on banknotes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Cale Chapman. Last night, Crawford County deputies arrested a wanted man after he barricaded himself in a residence near Pittsburgh State University. According to the police report, the Pittsburgh Police Department received a call from the victim of an alleged domestic incident just after 5 p.m. at 1504 South Joplin Street. Upon further investigations, officers indicated that the suspect was 20-year-old Isaiah Hayes. Court records indicate Hayes was wanted on the following charges: possession of marijuana and methamphetamine, failure to appear, and interference with LEO. When police learned that Hayes was barricaded and possibly armed inside the residence, they requested the help of the Pittsburgh Police Special Response Team. Hayes was later taken into custody. Police requested the following charges: criminal restraint interference with LEO, aggravated domestic battery, choke and rude manner, obstruction of felony warrant service, and possession of methamphetamines. The day began as usual at the Choctaw, Oklahoma Fire Department while firefighters checked their equipment and cars. Only this time, someone else took one of their trucks for a test drive.
These fire station doors, now sealed tight, had a driveway full of Choctaw fire trucks earlier today.
And just before their shift starts, they check their vehicles. They're very vigilant about that.
The vehicle's ready to go with keys inside.
One of the firefighters was in the rear of another vehicle checking it.
A Choctaw police officer saw the fire truck blow by with a woman behind the wheel.
Just as they noticed that the call came in that a fire truck had been stolen.
Choctaw Police Chief Kelly Marshall says Nicole Dunford slipped into the brush pumper and took off. Chief Marshall saying Dunford's been on their radar.
We've actually had calls on someone matching her description for the last day. One of our residents, she had been on her property in her cellar. We just hadn't been able to catch her.
Dunford, catching a tailwind, hit about 65 miles an hour in the hot truck as police followed, making the pursuit a little easier with people pulling to the right for flashing lights.
On a plus side, people were pulling over for the fire truck, thinking that the fire truck was headed to an emergency.
But Dunford showed no signs of stopping, even damaging the expensive emergency vehicle.
At one point, she, from what I understand, sideswiped a semi. So, you know, it was getting dangerous.
Thankfully, Chief Marshall says, Dunford came to the end of the road.
If there was road work going on, or this would have been a lot longer pursuit, she came right up to where the dirt work is.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now for a first look at the weather.
And it's a nice eye out there across the area. Radar is pretty much clear over our region, but notice up to the north and west, a few sprinkles and light showers. A lot of this is not even reaching the ground as the atmosphere is pretty dry. As we go through the overnight hours, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 40s all the way down to around 40 degrees by tomorrow morning. And looking down the lane, we have a warm Monday shaping up, a warmer Tuesday, but then we start to get a little bit wet on Wednesday and some colder weather later on in the week. And I'll tell you all about that in our forecast coming up in just a little while.
A Parsons, Kansas tradition happened once again today at a local church. The shrimp boil at Wesley United Methodist Church brought good eats to the whole community. Families could enjoy shrimp, sausage, potatoes, corn on the cob, and dessert.
I think that the community sees this church as one who is willing to help in the community, that this is a place they can come for help anytime they need it. It's a place they can come for spiritual guidance and just to put us out there to let people know that we're here to help you.
All proceeds from ticket sales went to support the Grab and Go food ministry at Wesley UMC. Metropolitan Weddings hosted a bridal show at Downstream Casino in Quapaw, Oklahoma. This wasn't just for future brides and grooms. This event also helped the Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states. KOAM's Carrie Worthen joined the excitement and has more on this story.
Metropolitan Weddings host a bridal show at Downstream Casino Resort in Quapaw, Oklahoma. All proceeds from this event are going to the Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states.
I thought that was great because they're a local service, and unfortunately it's one of those things where you don't know that you'll need that service until you're put in that situation.
One groom-to-be has a special connection to the Ronald McDonald House.
My son was born in Joplin Mercy Ronald McDonald House, and it meant the world to me.
Donna Clemens is just one of many volunteers at this event.
It's an incredible opportunity for us. We get our name out to young families and brides and people in the community, and we get to share the mission of Ronald McDonald House, and it's a great fundraiser for us. Helps us support our families who come and stay with us.
And with lots of vendors from food, desserts, suits, photography, and much, much more, there are sure to be something on your list at this event.
Able to sit there and taste some of these vendors and what they put their heart and soul into to make the day as special as possible.
I need a bar services and dessert and a caterer for my wedding.
But it's not all about the bride. Her fiance is here too.
Voluntold. He didn't really get an option.
A venue like this here at Downstream Casino will be able to give back to something that gave me so much.
Let's face it, the grooms-to-be are the real stars of the show. In Quapaw, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
On top of $1,000 in prizes and tons of giveaways, there was a fashion show, a bounce house, and plenty of photo opportunities. The Miners Hall Museum hosted its next installment of their Money and Metals Doing Business in the Mining Era exhibit today. Today's program focused on banknotes with discussion about national banknotes and local banking traditions. After the presentation, guests were able to explore the rest of the exhibit.
Well, the Fowler family was connected to 3 local state banks throughout the mining region, and Brent is a descendant of that group, actually a third-generation banker, the grandson of the founder of the bank in Arcadia, Kansas, and a longtime banker himself in Arma, Kansas. And he's seen a lot of changes, in the banking business over that time, and changes in the currency that circulated as well.
The museum will feature more special presentations throughout the year. And coming up, we have the latest on Jimmy Carter and his condition as he enters hospice care. Plus, the CEO of Norfolk Southern is in East Palestine, Ohio. We have what he has to say about the train derailment. Americans of all ages and political backgrounds are sending prayers to former President Jimmy Carter and his family as he entered the last phase of his long and storied life. The 98-year-old Democrat, who served one term in the White House from 1977 to 1981, is in home hospice care after several short stays in the hospital. CBS News correspondent Mike Helgren has more from Plains, Georgia.
In Plains, Georgia, worshipers at Maranatha Baptist Church prayed for former President Carter during Sunday morning services.
Lord, we'd be amiss this morning if we did not lift President Carter to you. Lord, we pray that you be with his family, Lord, those around him, and God, we thank you for his service to this nation.
Mr. Carter and his wife Rosalind attended the church in his hometown for many years, and the former president taught Sunday school there. On Saturday, the Carter Center announced the former president, who is 98, will forego further medical treatment and enter home hospice care for the remainder of his life. Jimmy Carter is the longest living American president, and he spent his more than 4 decades after the White House here in Plains.
He cared about people that much where he wanted to talk about your vacation or how your family was doing. He didn't want to talk about worldly politics and things like that.
Lifelong resident Michael Dominic is touching up the famous Smiling Peanut statue that was brought to Plains during Mr. Carter's 1976 presidential campaign.
We're all family, man, and Mr. Jimmy's right in there with us, but he just does anything for anybody when he could.
In a legal brief for an environmental cause last year, Mr. Carter wrote, quote, "In my lifetime, I've been a farmer, a naval officer, a Sunday school teacher, an outdoorsman, a democracy activist, a builder, governor of Georgia, and recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. And from 1977 to 1981, I had the privilege of serving as the 39th president of the United States. For years, the former president helped build homes for the needy with Habitat for Humanity.
At the end of the Habitat project, we always feel that Rose and I got more out of it than we put into it."
On Sunday, President Biden tweeted to former President Carter and his family, quote, "We admire you for the strength and humility you have shown in difficult times. May you continue your journey with grace and dignity, and God grant you peace." Mike Helgren, CBS News, Plains, Georgia.
Former President Carter also wrote more than 20 books and established the Carter Center for Human Rights with his wife, Rosalind. Students are heading back to school at Michigan State University tomorrow. This will be the first day of class since a deadly shooting that left 3 dead and 5 wounded. School officials say they will keep the MSU Union and Berkey Hall, where the shootings took place, closed for the remainder of the semester. Interim Provost Thomas Jitsko talked about the impact of the shootings and what they will have on the MSU community and how they are going to help people cope.
We have resources around what to say to students after a crisis, how to have discussions. There's no expectations that our faculty members will be mental health practitioners in these settings, but they will be empathetic, and each of them with their classes will figure out what are the best ways forward.
Instructors have been asked to be flexible in their approach to classes this semester. Alan Shaw, the CEO of Norfolk Southern this weekend, has been in the community at East Palestine, Ohio. Stan Boney has more details.
I talked late this afternoon with Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw in the command center at a former East Palestine school. He began with a message to everyone affected.
This has been devastating to this community, and I want to make sure you understand I am terribly sorry that this happened to the community. Norfolk Southern is fully committed to doing what's right for this community.
Shaw says he was at the meeting in person on the Monday after the derailment in which the decision for a controlled release was made. And what was his reaction when he saw the result and the cloud of smoke rising into the sky?
Frankly, that told us that there was success and that the opportunity for a much riskier event occurred because of what was in the rail cars.
Shaw says Norfolk Southern is offering $1,000 a person to everyone in the 44413 zip code and in Beaver County's evacuation zone.
Are you making them sign documents to tell people that they won't sue further or they can't ask for more money?
No, not at all. All they have to do is sign their name and say they've received $1,000.
Shaw is pleased with the cleanup so far.
We're making a lot of progress.
He could not say, however, where the soil and liquids being collected are being shipped off to.
We're taking it to landfills that are designed to handle that type of material.
What city and state?
I don't have that information.
You don't know where they're going?
No.
On the matter of people like Donald Trump and Aaron Brockovich coming to East Palestine?
You know, I understand why this has created a lot of national attention. Right, I understand that completely.
And when asked about the calls for stricter regulations on the railroad industry, Shaw said to wait on the report from the National Transportation Safety Board.
All the misinformation out there that's really causing a lot of issues, frankly, for the people of this community. You know, we support the NTSB's investigation. What we're trying to do is work really closely with the local leaders on the environmental remediation, getting information right, data-based, science-based information.
Alan Shaw would not give a timeline for how long Norfolk Southern will remain in East Palestine or how much money the company will ultimately spend.
A little later, we'll recap PSU basketball's doubleheader against Nebraska Kearney.
And we're going to have a warm Monday starting the work week, and I'll be back in a minute to tell you all about the forecast when we come back. Well, we've had some pretty nice weather for mid-February this weekend. Not too bad as far as temperatures and a little bit of cloud cover, but that's all right. And if we take a look at the sky cam in motion over the day, you can see the clouds increasing as we go through the afternoon hours down in Seneca, Missouri at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. And this evening we're left with some mostly cloudy skies, but the clouds are going to clearing out for a little bit as we head into Monday. We did make it up to 62 today after starting out at 40, which was above the normals of 51 and 30. Of course, not anywhere close to the records of 78 and -1, so quite a range in temperatures can be had this time of year. Radar is all clear around our area. However, there are some sprinkles trying to form up towards our north. A lot of this is not even reaching the ground because the atmosphere is so dry in the lower levels. Most of that sprinkle activity is going to stay up to the north of Emporia, up towards Kansas City. A little bit wider view shows that band of clouds stretching all the way back down to southwestern Kansas. But that's about it. Just a few clouds for this evening. Temperatures, though, are dropping into the 30s behind this weak little boundary that is draped across our area. 30s behind it, 40s and 50s ahead of it. You can see 53 right now in Anderson, 54 for our friends in Grove and in Jay. In fact, we're looking at temperatures around 10 degrees warmer tonight down to the south than they were last night at this time. A little bit cooler up towards the north and west behind that boundary. And we're looking at dew points increasing as well, with the south winds today brought our dew points up into the 30s, which helped out with the fire danger a little bit. Still dry though, in the 30s for the most part, and some 20s as well. Right now in Joplin, we're sitting at 49 degrees. The wind is now calm, so there's no wind chill out there, 34 on the dew point, and the pressure is at 29.88. And you can see here in Pittsburgh, a nice calm wind with the flag there on the flagpole. And you can see in Pittsburgh, it's calm. 39 degrees though, so of course it feels like 39. Humidity at 78%. Your forecast for tonight, we're going to see lows dropping in the 30s and 40s with those light and variable winds around that boundary. Then as we go through the day tomorrow, we'll see the clouds off and on with temperatures in the low to mid 60s. And then as we go through Monday night into Tuesday morning, our winds will turn around to a more north to northeasterly direction with lows in the 30s and 40s. Then on Tuesday afternoon, our winds turn back around to the south, and so we'll see highs in the low to mid 60s. Then Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's when the rain chances really start to increase, especially as we head towards Wednesday morning. In fact, there's a marginal risk of severe weather. We'll have to keep an eye on that for you. The biggest threat's going to be the heavy rains and maybe some high winds. Tornado threat is low. Rainfall amounts are going to be generous across our area, and that's good news, especially for our friends in southeastern Kansas where they desperately need the rainfall. Over the next 7 days, it's going to be warm for the first 3 days, then winter kind of comes back on Thursday and Friday, and then more rain towards next weekend. And in the extended forecast, we go right back into more pleasant temperatures and partly cloudy skies.
Looks like a pretty nice President's Day for anybody who's got school off.
That's exactly right. Nice day tomorrow.
For sure. All righty. Well, thank you, Sam.
No problem.
Still ahead, we've got all your area college baseball and softball scores in sports. And MSSU clashes on the court with Fort Hays State. We'll see how they did. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas split a basketball doubleheader with Nebraska Kearney yesterday. On the women's side, the Gorillas battled to the end but fell just short, losing 70-67. Pitt State actually led by 10 at one point in the third quarter, but UNK rallied to tie it up going into the fourth and took the lead with under 30 seconds to go. The Gorillas had all 5 starters in double figures Saturday, led by point guard Harper Schreiner. The freshman was aggressive all night and finished with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists.
I mean, all year I've wanted Harper to just continue to be aggressive, get downhill. She is so strong, such a great driver. And, you know, she just knows that she's playing with a lot of great players, and she's a point guard, and so she really likes to distribute and facilitate. I think, like you said, we're kind of seeing just scratching the surface of what she can do this year. But, yes, being more aggressive to the rim in our offense is definitely a key for point guard.
The Pittsburgh State men snapped a 4-game losing streak on Saturday, beating the Lopers 93-85. They also had all 5 starters in double figures, with Jeremy Shaw and Marquis English leading the way. Shaw scored a season-high 23 points, while English posted a double-double with 23 points and 12 rebounds. The Gorillas will be back in action on Thursday on the road against Emporia State. The Missouri Southern Lions were also in action at home on Saturday. The Lions split a doubleheader with Fort Hays State. The Southern men fell to the Tigers 84-70. On the women's side, the Lions beat the Tigers 61-58 in their final home game of the regular season. Missouri Southern out-rebounded Fort Hays State 44-28, and they got a big game out of junior guard Chrislyn Jones. Jones led the Lions with 18 points, including going 4 for 8 from 3.
She's such a good shooter. You know, when she gets rolling, we try to do different things that we can get her more shots. Sometimes she gets a little too passive for me. She has some opportunities, but no, she was big, especially that first half, knocking down shots. It's huge that when we get our kids that are shooters knocking shots down, it doesn't make our offense any easier, but it gives us a better opportunity to get to the basket.
We'll be back after a short break, but here are some local college and baseball softball scores from this afternoon. David Daniel has early estimates for the top 5 films in theaters from Friday through Saturday.
I don't know what's going on here.
Knock at the Cabin stayed in 5th place, scaring up $3.9 million. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is at $168 million domestic after a 4th place weekend worth $5.3 million. Magic Mike's Last Dance fell from 1st to 3rd on ticket sales of $5.5 million. Avatar: The Way of Water made $6.1 million for 2nd place and a domestic total of $658 million, passing Jurassic World for 9th place on the all-time list. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania opened big, $104 million, the best Ant-Man launch ever and the first $100 million debut this year. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, darn. I thought we got rid of Avatar there, but I was wrong.
Yeah, they're still in there.
Hanging in.
All right, let's take a look at the forecast. We have some pretty nice weather for President's Day tomorrow, 67. Rain arrives late Tuesday into Wednesday, especially Wednesday morning. Then another chance of rain next weekend after a little bit of a cool down, especially on Friday. It'll be kind of chilly. Then we come right back to spring early next week with temperatures in the 50s and 60.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
All righty, well, that's our time for now. Thanks for making us a part of your night.